Welcome to the future of factory automation.
This program is a broadcast of a Japanese podcast that has been translated into English using Notebook LM.
And welcome, everyone. So today we're doing another deep dive, looking at something that, well, on the surface seems pretty simple. Doors.
Right, doors. But we're not talking about the ones in your house. This is all about manufacturing, factory automation. It comes from a translated discussion we've been digging into.
Yeah, and the origin is kind of interesting, too, as part of this Day of Manufacturing Podcasts event over in Japan.
Where different shows all tackled the same theme. And guess what the first theme was?
Doors. You'd think, maybe. How much can you say about doors?
But it very quickly goes somewhere specific, doesn't it?
Absolutely, safety doors. I mean, think about factories, automation, powerful machines. Safety becomes, well, paramount. It's not optional.
Exactly. So that's our focus today, really exploring these safety doors and, what they signify about safety concepts and automation more broadly. It's definitely more than just a simple barrier.
Okay, let's dive in then. When you think doors in a factory context, what's the immediate association? For me, it's got to be safety, right? Protecting people from the robots, the machinery.
That's it. It's the first line of defense, basically. The physical manifestation of keeping things safe. And the conversation we looked at, it jumps right into a specific company, Oihina.
Yeah.
From Germany.
Oihina. O-I-H-I-N-A. Okay. And they specialize in safety door locks.
Yeah, safety locks, safety devices. And what's really interesting is how customizable their systems are. It's quite clever, actually.
Customizable how? Like different keys?
Well, more than that, it's modular. So you can build the lock unit with different combinations of buttons. Your standard buttons, e-stops, naturally.
Emergency stops, yeah. Crucial.
But also maybe specific buttons for functions inside the guarded area. They talked about integrating communication, too, wired or wireless, with the lock itself.
Ah, okay. So you could maybe have a button right on the door to, like, inch a robot arm into a maintenance position or signal you're ready for a material swap?
Exactly that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's all integrated. They've sort of separated the comms and button part from the actual locking part so you can mix and match.
That's smart. But the core job is still the same, right? Make sure the door's closed, otherwise cut the power through the safety circuit.
Absolutely. That fundamental safety function is still key. They've just added these layers of operational convenience on top.
Makes safety less of a, total interruption and more part of the workflow.
Yeah, improves usability without, hopefully, compromising the safety aspect.
Yeah.
They even spent a moment figuring out how to say the name. It's Oihina.
Oihina. Got it. Good to clarify. So where do you typically see these Oihina locks in Japan, according to the discussion?
It seems like they're pretty prevalent in automotive manufacturing and places using heavier industrial robots, where that robustness is really needed.
But maybe not everywhere.
Well, the size came up. They mentioned they're generally larger than typical Japanese door locks.
They compared it to Kinzel, I think. Said the Oihina unit plus its communication module could be, like, double the size.
Yeah, roughly half the size for the Kinzel unit alone. That's a fair difference.
Why so big, the European ones?
The thinking seems to be, well, robustness, durability, and also just ease of use. Hitting a bigger button is easier, especially if you're maybe wearing gloves or, focused on the machine.
Ah, that tactile feedback. Makes sense. You don't want to be fumbling for a tiny button in a safety situation. Better than a touch panel, probably.
Definitely. That physical click gives you confirmation. And these aren't cheap components either. A proper safety switch like that, they mentioned around 23,000 yen.
Compared to, what, pennies for a little surface mount tactile switch?
Exactly. It reflects the reliability needed, safety ratings.
Okay, so Oihina's a key player. Any others mentioned? Other safety lock manufacturers?
Yeah, Pills came up. Another European one, also described as pretty bulky, robust.
And Japanese companies?
They listed a few. Kinzel, IDC, Emerald Deck, and iTech.
ID sounded like the big one in Japan, the most mainstream.
That was the impression, yeah. Which led to an interesting side point about iTech.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the initial thought was maybe they just made buttons, but no, they're actually a full-on safety equipment company. Safety PLCs, the works.
Right, so it's not just the lock on the door, it's the whole system, safety controllers, logic.
Exactly. It shows how deep these niches can go.
Yeah.
So market share-wise in Japan, it sounds like IDC is strong. Siemens, Pills, also common. Maybe iTech less so recently, or perhaps in different segments.
IDC, they're based in Osaka, apparently.
And, different industries need different things. Like battery manufacturing requires specific certifications, ATEX-rated stuff for explosive atmospheres. Safety components have to match the environment.
Makes sense. So iTech, even if initially seen as just buttons, they actually have things like safety scanners?
Yeah, laser scanners, like they're Swifty, and also something called the Safety Commander. Look like a handheld pendant, customizable buttons, could even integrate a tablet. Pretty
Ooh.
sophisticated interfaces developing.
This really highlights how important the standards and certifications are. It's not just bolting on a lock.
Absolutely not. Companies like IDC are apparently involved in setting the Japanese ISO standards. They mentioned a specific certification, Safety Leader Assessor.
And not many people have it.
Sounds like a limited number in Japan, yeah. Some at IDC, Kinzel, Omron were mentioned. It really underlines the expertise needed here.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. The discussion moved onto electromagnetic door locks. These are becoming more common, right?
They are, yeah. The key difference, the defining characteristic, is that they need power to stay locked. Power fails, the lock releases.
Right, which immediately makes you think safety implications. What if the power cuts out, but the machine inside hasn't fully stopped?
That's the big what if.
Yeah.
Exactly. If there's residual motion spinning parts, inertia, and the door pops open because the power failed, well, that's potentially very hazardous.
They mentioned different approaches to power cuts too, like between Japan and maybe Taiwan or Korea.
Yeah. Differing practices on whether equipment is always powered down for cleaning or maintenance. Of course, leaving things on uses more energy too.
But operationally, these electromagnetic locks have upsides. Keyless entry, maybe? More tolerant if the door isn't perfectly aligned?
Those are the potential advantages, yeah.
Hmm.
Convenience, maybe slightly easier installation or alignment.
But it comes back to that core safety debate, doesn't it? Is
Yeah.
releasing on power failure always the safest state, especially with residual hazards?
That's the crux of it. The argument for mechanical is that it stays locked without power. But then the counter is that some mechanical locks can also be designed to release on power loss, and you have electrically controlled mechanical locks too.
So it's not black and white. It really depends on the specific machine, the risks, the company's safety philosophy.
Precisely. It demands a really thorough risk assessment for that specific application. No one-size-fits-all answer.
Okay. Then the conversation widened out again, from locks to, well, the traditional stuff. Safety covers, light curtains, laser scanners. But then they brought up Safety 2.0. What's that about?
Yeah, Safety 2.0. It's kind of a conceptual shift. Moving away from what they called Safety 1.0, which is basically fixed barriers, fences, light curtains that trigger a hard stop if breached.
Okay, the traditional approach. If you cross the line, everything shuts down.
Right. Safety 2.0 is more about dynamic risk assessment. It's about the system understanding where people are relative to the machinery in real time and adjusting accordingly.
So not just on-off, safe based on a fixed boundary, but more nuanced, based on distance, maybe speed.
Exactly. Think about AMRs, the mobile robots. They slow down or stop if you get close, then speed up when you move away. The idea is applying similar thinking, potentially, to cobots or even industrial robots.
Okay, I can see the potential. What tech makes that possible?
You need good sensors. Distance sensors, person detection, laser rangefinders are key right now. Maybe vision systems down the line, but there are challenges there.
Challenges like what? Standards?
Reliability, both. The standards for this dynamic approach are still evolving. Defining safe speeds and distances for every situation is, well, tricky. And yeah, who's liable if something goes wrong? Big questions.
But the upside could be huge, right? Fewer fixed fences means more flexible layouts, easier access.
That's the promise. More efficient use of space, easier interaction when needed. But the cost of these advanced sensor systems is still pretty high.
Although they did mention 3D safety radar getting cheaper.
Yeah, that was a positive note. Prices are starting to come down, which could help adoption.
Who makes these advanced scanners now? Mostly European companies.
Just like it. SICK, Luzes were mentioned as big players.
Yeah.
Keyent's more on the OEM side for this. Pils makes them too. There was a question mark over Hokuyu's role in like forward-facing safety radar specific.
Hopefully more competition brings prices down further.
That's the usual pattern, yeah.
So if we move towards fewer physical barriers, what else changes? What about like wiring?
Big implications there. Could definitely push things towards more wireless solutions. Wireless I/O link masters came up connecting sensors and actuators without cables.
Makes layouts way more flexible.
Totally. But you also have to rethink things you might do on the fence now. Like where do you put checklists, tools, maybe more reliance on tablets, smart systems.
Right. So when might we see this Safety 2.0 become more mainstream? Did they hazard a guess?
The prediction tossed out was maybe around 2030. And they mentioned a Japanese group, the Safety Global Promotion Organization, is pushing for it.
Interesting. They also touched on using cameras, image processing for safety, but said it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, the main issue seems to be robustness. Industrial environments are tough, lighting changes, dust, obstructions. Image processing needs to be super reliable for primary safety functions. But if they crack that,
Then layouts could become even more flexible, right?
potentially, yeah, it
Yeah.
really opens things up. So the whole safety tech field looks set for some pretty interesting changes.
It feels like this transition period from 1.0 to 2.0 is where a lot of innovation will happen.
Absolutely. It's a chance to rethink how factories are designed and operated, ultimately making them more efficient and adaptable, driven by these safety advancements.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we started with just doors and ended up way deep into safety philosophy, advanced sensors, the future of factory layouts. Pretty fascinating journey.
It really is. How thinking about something seemingly simple like a safety door opens up this whole evolving world of automation safety. It's exciting to think how different factories might look in, say, 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. If this has piqued your interest, definitely look more into Safety 2.0, maybe some of those companies we mentioned like Ohina, IDC, SICK, Luz. And if you want to find other discussions from that Japanese event,
Check out the hashtag Arkun on X. That's X, formerly Twitter. You should find the other shows that talked about doors and other themes there.
and hey, if you enjoyed this conversation, we'd really appreciate if you'd follow our program.
Yeah, we're tracking our followers currently at 94. Trying to hit that 100 mark. Maybe we'll do something special then. Who knows?
So just a final reminder, this whole discussion sprang from that Day of Manufacturing podcasts in Japan and their first theme, doors.
Posting 200 daily episodes. Please follow and comment.